Hi, I'm Rick Maurer. Welcome to the Change Without Migraine series. In this series, I'm trying to give you very short, very practical things you could do to build support or sustain support. So these are all things that are homegrown. You don't have to buy some toolkit from someplace else. It's stuff that I hope you can just use. And today I want to tell you about Reginald Revans, or I guess people who knew him well called him Reg Revans. He was a scientist. And out of graduate school, he started working at the famed Cavendish Labs at Cambridge University. And he said, when he got there, I mean, you would go to tea and there would be all these scientists. Five of them had Nobel Prizes. He said, there's just a lot of brain power in that room. And he said, when he had worked in other scientific communities, there was a lot of one-upmanship, a lot of trying to prove to yourself, to the others, that you were the brightest person in the room. And he referred to it as bartering their ignorance and their confusion. But he said that something very special happened at Cavendish. He said that every Wednesday afternoon they had a tea where there was a rule for speaking. You could only start a conversation if you had a problem. And he said, when somebody who has a Nobel Prize in physics, let's say, says, I got this problem and it's really, man, I'm really stuck and I could use some help. He said, suddenly degrees and titles, all of that go away as other people who are deeply concerned and very bright chip in to try to help them solve it. And so these would be scientists from other disciplines. So they would just find there would be this richness of ideas. In fact, Einstein, I think, visited there for a while, and he actually told Revans, I've got to read you what Einstein said, because I've never heard this quote quite like this. If you think you understand a problem, make sure you're not deceiving yourself. If you think you understand a problem, make sure you're not deceiving yourself. I like that a lot. I'll try to do that. Evans then went on after working at the Cavendish Labs and then other places, and he created something called action learning. And that is where people on the job, managers, could learn from each other as opposed to having to rely on an expert all the time. I don't think he was against expertise, but he's saying people who walk in the room often have a lot of knowledge. And it's best to start working with that. And so there's a few things that I think you can do. It seems so simple. One is that there's a ground rule for the tea. And people, I think, will need to be instructed about what that means. Is that you've got a problem. It can't be a problem you already solved, because then you're trying to show your brilliance. But it's something where you come in and you say, hey, I'm really stuck. And that the conversation just stays focused on that. And maybe you have tea or coffee or whatever on other days, but the Wednesday was always, you can't start a conversation unless you got a problem. I found a lot of stuff on the web about Reginald Revans and his work on this. And if you want to look it up, it's Reginald Revans, Revans. But I found, I think, three things that I really liked. And all of them, if I were to give you the URL, every one of the URLs is really long. So if you'd like it, just send me an email and I'll be glad to send you the links to those things. I really do. If you're interested in this, you ought to go right to the source. He's really good. And, he and some professors who've worked with him really have some good stuff to say. All right, so I hope that was helpful. Thanks a lot.